AI is likely to be a mixed bag of opportunities and challenges. On the one hand, AI is expected to create new jobs, improve productivity, and lead to more efficient work processes. While on the other hand, AI may also replace certain jobs and require workers to upskill themselves. Our report consists of interesting facts about how the future of work with AI is likely to be complex and dynamic, how AI will demand shift in skills, require greater flexibility, and will also create newer jobs. We are set to launch our report early next week and would be mailing it across to all of you. We will also be having a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar, so please feel free to submit your questions using the chat function. Today, we have an excellent panel of experts here with us in this webinar, and we are really excited to hear their thoughts on the future of work with AI. Let me introduce our distinguished panel. Mr. Naveen Patel. Naveen is currently the Global Talent Acquisition Head at Affine, an expert in his field with over 20 years of experience. He is also an innovative strategist who has built, coached, and led high-performing teams. He has worked in organizations of varying complexities to help fulfill their talent requirement in latest cutting-edge digital skills and technologies. Welcome, Naveen.
Thank you.
Mr. Hari Prasad Padaki. Hari is the head of Vision Care Operations at Carl Zeiss, India. He has over 34 years of experience in techno-commercial background. During his tenure, Hari took up several challenging roles in manufacturing industries and has been in senior management for the last 12 years, independently running a business group with large teams. Welcome, Hari.
Thank you, Krishna.
So to begin with, let us hear from Naveen. Naveen, with the growing significance of AI in the market, what, according to you, are some of the key benefits that businesses can expect from implementing AI-powered tools and technologies in their operations?
So AI definitely is picking up these days in the market, and people are adopting it. And obviously, a lot of people are skeptical about the technology itself and how it's going to change them. But the benefits that the people can expect from us increase efficiency and productivity, because AI can automate routine tasks that people are doing right now, and also will help in reducing the errors and mistakes that people can do. Right, the moment you train a particular AI model, it will ensure that it is being done accurately. So it will definitely increase efficiency and productivity of any particular organization. And second thing which will help in is improve decision making, because once you train this AI models, to gather a lot of data, a lot of insights, which will help in taking informed decisions in future. So that is where it's going to impact. The third area where it will impact is enhancing customer experiences, right? When I talk about customer experiences, there were times when there were standardized chatbots or standardized assistants that would communicate or converse with a particular human in a standard manner. But now, because the AI would understand my kind of behavior, purchase pattern, the kind of preferences that I have, right? It will be able to give me more better experience, right? Customized to my need, right? It will understand my gender, it will understand my buying pattern, it will understand all the other demographics about me. So that's how it's going to enhance the customer experience. And the other area where it's going to impact is cost savings, right? So because of certain automation that will bring in, I'll be able to manage with a smaller team. With a certain routine task, AI is going to take care of. So maybe instead of 5 team members, I'll probably have 3 team members. So that is one way it's going to help in saving costs. Plus, there are sometimes human errors that are expensive, right? They are costly and they cannot be fixed. So that can be avoided in those areas where we have AI implemented. So recently, I'm listening to one particular article, right, where even the lawyers are trying to implement AI, right, so that it can help them in consultation, it can help them in probably suggesting, right, rather than someone spending a lot of time and arriving at a certain case study or how to go about it. AI is going to bring in that difference. And obviously, with all these benefits, what it's going to provide to organization is competitive advantage, right? Because whoever is the first adopter of AI and able to get into the market, right? Obviously, that will create a big impact and give that competitive advantage to a particular organization.
Great, Naveen, that was quite interesting. I think we have put it in a very interesting way that right from improving customer experience to productivity and enhancement to cost savings, every unique business will have their unique needs and depending on the circumstances. So from robots performing high precision surgeries to autonomous vehicles, AI is integrated in a wide range of industries. So Hari, can you tell us a bit about the major industries that are using AI extensively, and what are some of the other industries expected to adopt AI in the near future?
Yeah, Krishna, as you just now mentioned, healthcare is one of the things which is extensively using this AI now. And I think the e-commerce, which is very visible. If you look at healthcare, as you just now mentioned, robotic surgery is one of the things, data mining, and also getting the fast feedback on all the diagnosis. So these are some of the things where healthcare is also using, and even in the e-commerce, because it's becoming highly competitive, as Naveen mentioned, people are trying to use the data of the customers and trying to prioritize what they should sell to them. They're analyzing their sales strategy on how it should be sold and targeting the audiences according to their likes and dislikes and their life behavior and things like that. Banking is one more sector where the financial loans are made very, very easier, and they can also easily check frauds. The applications are made easier. They're becoming very, very customer friendly. Travel is one more thing where people are being given a lot of options. Customer service has been very friendly. People can be accessed 24/7. Entertainment is one more thing where gaming is completely using AI now in most of the places, and people are enjoying using AI. So these are some of the industries which is started using AI. If you look at the industries that's going to come, I think we are still at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of industries that's going to get into this. A lot of people are going to get into, for example, the software publishers, the hardware manufacturing is also going to get into the AI. Component manufacturers are already working on how to implement AI in their shop floors, how to make sure that the workforce is completely utilized properly, how they can reallocate their talented resource and things like that. There is a lot of research going on in what all AI can be used. For example, the radio broadcasting, support activities in animal productivity, bed and breakfast inns which support small time for the travelers, jewelry, luggage, and things like that. So there are a lot of industries. These are still at tip of the iceberg. I mean, as you move on and as they come to know what are the benefits that they can explore because of this artificial intelligence, I think companies will come out with a very innovative ideas. A lot of startups are being coming out because they understand that these can improve personal life. This can give experience, a better experience to the customers. I'm sure innovative ideas and more companies would like to come under the AI influence here.
Those were some really great thoughts, Hari. I think just to add, I think the way you've mentioned that we are seeing a surge of AI on, especially on the healthcare, finance, manufacturing, logistics. So each and every sector, there will be a constant need where AI can integrate. And that's where businesses can bring in more efficiency and effectively manage their operations. So I think my next question is for Naveen. And Naveen, while we now clearly see the potential of AI to significantly transform businesses, as you have rightly spoken, and Hari also made his points just now, moving on to what are some of the main challenges that you see that businesses are currently facing when it comes to adopting AI? Can you throw some light on this particular aspect when it comes to challenges particularly?
Yeah, so while talking about AI is quite easy, but getting that AI ready, trained, and to ensure that it is working in a expected manner. Right, there are a lot of things that go behind it. Right, it's for example, it is first thing is absolutely on the data quality and availability. Right, the system needs to work on large amounts of data, which is high quality. Right, if the data is not correct, not proper, the output of your AI is gonna be haphazard. Right, so that's the reason the data quality and availability is an issue. But there are a lot of work that's happening in the back end. A lot of people are working on tools and platforms where they can have their data structured and in a manner that can be utilized. Right, so I think that is already happening in the industry. Hari said, just tip of the iceberg. So a lot of people are getting ready. Like the internet revolution, mobile revolution, it had its own time, to evolve. Right, so similarly, AI just started. Right, like a tip of iceberg, and there's a lot more potential that AI can bring in. And the second challenge that typically industry faces technical expertise, because that not there are not many people who are proficient in implementing this AI solution or can understand. So I think that is where the industry is currently getting ready with a lot of training that are happening. A lot of people are working on it. So as and when people do more and more of this, they will become more and more proficient in being able to work on AI models. And because if you have to get ready for AI, people have to again invest. There's a certain cost involved for readiness to get AI. It's not a plug and play tool right now. So that's a slight hindrance to some of the companies, some of the medium-sized companies, right? Where implementing AI could also have a cost factor attached to it, right? And apart from that, other thing which interesting is about the ethical consideration, because AI can sometimes bring in data probably uh, with the transparency factor, right? Or probably the accountability factor is a concern. So we have to see how this thing also can be done in a responsible manner. Just implementing AI cannot be done because you will be working with data of maybe public or people or someone's private information, right? So how do you ensure that it is not crossing the line, right? So that is something that companies will have to consider and probably invest in having people who can provide these ethical guidelines and someone who's monitoring these from time to time to ensure that it's not getting into any legal issues with any of the countries. And the other challenge which is there with respect to integrating with existing system, right? Just because I have an AI, I cannot replace the entire system that we have in place, right? So we have to look at how can that be integrated, and that integration is not very easy, right? So there's a lot of time involved, cost involved in that. So I think that is one of the challenge that is being also faced by the industry. And with respect to ethical consideration, also, there are a lot of biases and discrimination that have happened, right? Why? Because the AI is nothing but created by humans. The algorithms are written by humans, right? Everything is fed in by humans and trained in a particular manner, right? So if we are not being careful about that, it could lead to biases, discrimination also. And also, the organization have to ensure that they are accountable and transparent about what they're doing. Right? If they are using something which is unethical in an unethical manner or taking advantage of something in a wrong manner, I think that is something which people will have to definitely be careful about.
Great, Naveen. So also wanted to understand, since you spoke about ethical considerations to be one of the major roadblock, since you work very closely into this space, so can you also throw some light in terms of, are there any major concerns related to data privacy or data protection? And would this be a major challenge for businesses to adopt in the longer run?
It would be, but businesses will have to basically come up with those kind of disclaimers, or whenever they're using any particular data, they'll have to use those disclaimers and inform that particular party. So whenever we are even currently installing a lot of applications on mobile or visiting very different various websites, so there's a lot of fine print that is there which we do not go in detail. That's a lot of organizations or companies will be ensuring that they have these things safeguarded to protect their interests, right? And wherever they have to be transparent about certain things, they'll have to inform the customer so that they are also aware, that what kind of information is going to be used.
Thanks, Naveen. So, Hari, talking about the workforce right now, we've spoken about currently on the businesses integrating with AI. Now, in terms of workforce, would like to hear from you how AI may change the work as we know it. Can you tell us a bit about the potential impact of AI on the job market? And how do you think will it change the demand for certain roles in the near future?
Yeah, definitely there will be a demand for certain roles to play, and maybe certain, which is repetitive jobs and all, maybe they have to upgrade their skills, because it's always a challenge, as you move along in the generations, certain jobs which are always being threatened. I mean, people who were typing were always threatened when the computer came in, or people shorthand writing was always threatened. So these things will always keep happening, but computer also created a lot of job opportunities. And today we have Bangalore as most of the software professionals, and India as the hub for all the software professionals. These things will always happen. So I think the AI is going to create something close to 20 to 25 million jobs probably in the next 3 to 5 years. That's what is said. But what people have to understand is it's not that it's just going to create jobs and anybody can go and join, but they have to upgrade their skills. They need to make sure that they're constantly in touch with the tools that are being generated, and they need to look back at what they have learned so far and what is the future and how the market's shaping, and they need to make sure that they're in the right path. For example, if, there are a lot of opportunities for the NLP engineers who are doing the natural language processing. There is an opportunity for the programmers. There is an opportunity for the AI product managers. There can be an AI consultant, which is so far not there, can come up suddenly, because a lot of people are using AI. They don't know how to use. They don't know the risks that are associated associated with it. So a job opportunity can come. Robotic engineering can definitely be a field for all the engineers to look into, which is not yet taught so seriously in India, at least. Data scientists, research scientists. So these are some of the jobs which will definitely open up. And I think people also should look into it. Our education skills should also move towards this. And our students and engineers who are coming up now in this generation for the next 25 to 30 years, they can just relax and see what they want to build a career in AI and accordingly build and study and upskill their skills towards that. But this becomes a necessity and they need to do it if they have to be in pace with what's happening in the development of the country.
Great points, Hari. Would also like to hear from you, since there are a lot of roles which are going to get created in the job market because of AI, which is both positive and negative. Do you think, is there anything that businesses or industries can do something to promote AI as a job, as a career in the industry all put together? Because we also spoke about there are multiple industries who are already in the forefront of adapting AI into the systems. So do you think any push can be given in particular from industries or businesses to promote AI as a career?
Definitely, a lot of industries are already taken the front role. They are trying to see how to automate their process. They are trying to see how they can use their talent, skill, upgrade them, how to keep them motivated into them. They are organizing special courses for them, and they're analyzing their process to see which can be automated going forward in future, how they can benefit out of that, how they can analyze this data and use it for their business purposes. So these industries are already into healthcare, and many of these industries are already doing. The hardcore manufacturing industries, which I am representing, also is also looking into these things to save the cost, to make it more efficient, the process more efficient, and save time by doing this. So this will help our businesses, and all industries are focusing and trying to hire people and train people in this regard. And everyone cannot escape this and just sit idle when the whole country is looking towards AI. I'm sure the industries which are not done so far will also now start looking into it, and they will do it by today or next year to make sure that their industry is AI equipped in a year or three to come. That it has to happen within 2025 at least, for sure.
Thanks, Hari, for sharing your thoughts. Since AI has the potential to impact the job market in both ways, we spoke about the positive and negative impact as well. While automation may displace few jobs, but it will also create newer opportunities and change the nature of work. So, as we have rightly said, businesses and industries will need to take proactive steps to ensure that workers are more prepared for the changes that AI has to offer in the long run. So moving on to Naveen. Naveen, we just heard from Hari that there are many possible changes in the job market owing to the advent of AI. A lot of job roles are also getting created. A lot of skills also are in demand. So do you think does AI also have the potential to create new jobs? Like for instance, new jobs in engineering, software design, and programming. In that case, can AI help in empowering the workforce rather than putting their jobs at risk?
No, that's right. While it will also displace certain job, but it will replace them with newer ones, right? We have also seen this happening from, maybe almost 40, 50 years, starting off with industrial revolution, then we had the internet revolution. There are a lot of things that were brought in, but if you see, they have just created new opportunities, right? With, Ola, Uber coming in, right? It was a disruption in the industry. But people are still surviving, they are still thriving, they are coming up with alternate ways of working on something else, right? So it's going to be a slow change. Like I said, it's not going to overnight change the entire industry or human civilization. It's going to be a slow process where humans will start adapting to the new, right? Where they will have to bring in the real potential, right? Till the time the artificial intelligence does not become real intelligence. So when I say real intelligence is where the machine itself can start creating something new, right? Till now humans are the ones who are creating something new all the time, right? Even AI models or anything that is there is all designed, created by humans. At the moment machines start thinking on their own to do something new like humans, that's when it's going to be a risky thing. So I'm not sure when that time is going to come, but when that time comes, it's going to replace, like, machine itself will be probably, webinar. Right now, you and I are there on this webinar as human. Probably tomorrow we'll have machine who will be, creating this webinar. Right. So till such stage, I think we will definitely have a lot of opportunities. And AI is just not just, the interface, right? There are a lot of things happen at the back end. People who will need to manage the data, who will have to analyze the data. We have data scientists, statistical modeling, people who can manage the data, storage space. Then we have cloud coming into picture. So, software development, then you have UI, UX. So a lot of jobs are going to be created. So I think it will be more of tech enabled roles, right? So people will have to ensure that they're becoming more tech savvy and are also upskilling themselves in these areas to ensure that they are being relevant and able to contribute here. And also humans, they'll be able to become more creative now, right? So there are times when people are doing a lot of hard work to achieve a particular outcome. So now they'll have to do smart work. While the hard work can be done by the AI, so they'll have to bring in their competitive advantage and difference to the work. So, example, how I use AI or chat GPT is, respect to certain content that I need to develop, right? So I just allow chat GPT to, use my intelligence to figure out what is relevant, not relevant, and what can be used where. So it takes away that particular time that I used to, probably spend on, content building and, proofreading and all that. But now it gives me a certain base, and based on which I'll be able to maybe, look at a job description, improvise a job description, or probably improvise a resume content or summarize the resume. Or if I need to do a posting on LinkedIn or any other platform, and I have to just tell ChatGPT, give me a good structure. I have to just kind of look at it, tweak it, and then publish it. So that's how I'm using AI right now in my work.
So adding to that, Naveen, do you think AI will improve the overall work-life balance of employees all put together in the longer run? Do you think it's a powerful tool for empowering the workforce?
Yeah, I personally believe it is definitely going to help in improving work-life balance and giving us. So, like I said, there are a lot of hard work. When hard work is involved, it requires a lot of time to be invested. For example, if I'm making a presentation, I need to make a particular campaign. I have to think about different resources and then finally put that together and then apply my intelligence and then come up with an output. To give a difference between Google. When I do a Google on a particular topic, I get different websites that I have to go through, look at the content, relevancy, read that, probably take out my notes from there, and then kind of create a summary. But with ChatGPT, it picks up all the data of whatever is available and gives me a pre-plated information. So I'm going to save a lot of time over there and just use my intelligence in terms of what exactly I need to use from that content, and it'll give me a better work-life balance. And that is what I keep telling my team as well, saying that utilize as much as you can, and then kind of automate certain tasks, right? So if you want to draft a mail or a response to your particular candidate or to your stakeholders, or even improvise the content, just go and type it there. It will give you a content, and then improvise it and use it, rather than making mistakes or not sending a good communication, right? So this is something which I've used. An example, that's also I was helping people with improvising their resumes, right? So I found ChatGPT to be very useful, right? In terms of if I just say improvise this particular resume or improvise this job description, it was giving a wonderful output. I would say almost 90-95% accurate.
Great, Naveen, since you've already touched about ChatGPT, which was obviously my next question to you. However, since this is the latest buzzword in the world of AI, and I'm sure we all have used ChatGPT to pick up an interesting line or just some basic knowledge gathering. With it being the talk of the town at present, so my question to Hari is, what's your opinion on ChatGPT? Do you think it is here to stay? Also to add, are there any specific jobs which are at risk? Hari would like to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely ChatGPT is going to stay, if that has to be a straight answer. I don't think we should think that this is a flash in the pan. It's not a flash in the pan. So I'm sure it's going to stay for long, and we have to learn to live with this. We need to see how to make use of this and make sure that we get the maximum benefit of this. I think with the help of this, I think we should understand what relevant.
Hari, we've lost you. Hello.
Yeah, I think
Hari, we are unable to hear you. Naveen?
Yeah.
I think we lost.
Correct. I think there's some network issue there.
Let's give him a few more seconds here.
Sure.
Yeah, Hari.
I think it's got dropped off.
While we'll have Hari back into the conversation on ChatGPT and we'll be very keen to hear about his thoughts, I'll pass on the question to you, Naveen, for now. Naveen, what do you think? Which industries are likely to be impacted by generative AI the most? And also, I'd like you to throw some points on the potential benefits and drawbacks of incorporating generative AI into the workforce. And how can companies prepare for these changes?
So definitely, I think with AI, it's going to be there's something called generative AI, right, which will help in creating new content such as images, video, or music, based on patterns it has learned. Right, I've recently saw a couple of videos where you just take a few pictures, with your mobile phone, and then you put it in the AI model. AI model will kind of create a video out of it, right, and then you'll be able to change, customize the video if you want to from that particular image. It was software, right? And then images are taken in a different angle, and then it created a wonderful video out of that particular. So animation was so easy to prepare, right? And there was another one which I saw, a sketch that was drawn, in a particular paper, and then that was converted to AI, and then that you could, it animate that particular image, and within matter of minutes, right? So imagine the kind of potential it's got in terms of creativity. I think while it replaces certain roles, but it will also give opportunity for people to adapt to a lot of new things that probably they wouldn't have been able to do it. So, example, I'm not a good, painter or with sketches, but I can just draw something and I can improvise that on this. If I have that particular idea, I can always go and develop it with help of AI. Which I couldn't have probably thought about earlier. I think that's where it's going to become more and more creative. An example I mentioned about retail and e-commerce, right? So that's another place where people are going online or going and shopping, and based on my particular pattern behavior, like I said earlier, it will customize. So I'll be able to probably see recommendation, and I'm sure a lot of people have also seen a lot of ads being recommended for us, right? So when I'm using a particular app or a website, right, the ad that I see and what you would see would be different because of your pattern behavior that you have, the kind of products that you've been seeing, online, right? So accordingly, it will get more and more customized now. And then also people will be able to look at certain products without even getting to a particular showroom. They'll be able to maybe put a different color on a particular car or the clothes that you wear, right? So you'll be able to play around, and then you'll be able to put your image onto that particular thing, and then you'll be able to see how you're going to look, even without really wearing those clothes. So I think that's something which is going to become more interesting. Entertainment, gaming is another area, which is always about creativity and something different, right? So that's something which is going to get more and more, and also with metaverse coming in, I think people are going to, get into more immersive experiences than in the past. And like Hari also mentioned about the healthcare industry, because that's another area where, with a lot of information being online, right? Structured data about patients, about the past life trend, your family members. So AI will definitely be able to predict and give you better outcomes or better predictions with respect to your health. I think that's going to be another area where it's going to really pick up. The only area where I think people have to really be careful is with respect to ensuring that there are no biases or discrimination that creeps into this particular model, because that's something which will definitely not be the right thing for the industry. And that's about it, Krishna.
Thanks, Naveen. I think you would have already covered most of the queries which our participants would have for today, specific coming to ChatGPT topic. And I think you've clearly called out that businesses and organizations are and will look for ways to leverage AI to improve customer experiences and optimize business operations. And ChatGPT or similar AI-powered assistants will likely become increasing ubiquitous and more advanced. So moving back to Hari, since Hari, we lost you and we wanted to hear from you specifically on the jobs that you think because of ChatGPT might be at risk. And is there a way companies and job seekers can prepare themselves to use these highly evolved tools effectively? Yes, Hari, we'd like to hear from you on that.
Yeah, sorry for that bad connection. So yes, I think if you look at today, what companies has to do is they need to reorient their resources. They need to train. They should not engage them in repetitive jobs. They should see how to make sure, because ChatGPT doesn't have a common sense. It's not a human. I think it will just rely on the data, what is already available in the system. So make sure that the data flow is correct. Make sure that what we do is we have to get the accurate data to the algorithm. Make sure how do you how do you assess what is accurate data? How do you collect this data? How do you orientate it correctly? How do you make sure that it is not biased? How do you make sure it's more informative and the information is correct? I think these are the things that companies has to look into. If there's always a repetitive job, somebody is just fetching somewhere from the data and just giving it, I think ChatGPT can do the job. You can do away with that resource. So if there is a jobs that is already thinking that they've been doing the same job for the last 10 years, those people should be worried. But otherwise, there are a lot of jobs which people need not worry. For example, new things that is coming in coding, they can think of what they can do. ChatGPT cannot think. But if there are some telemarketers who are trying to advertise some wrong things, that is gone, because I think whatever telemarketers are doing, ChatGPT can also. As Naveen already mentioned, people like lawyers are already using to see the cases. They can use it very effectively to see how to argue whether these case laws were true, what was there behind, how to make sure whether this is a true or it's a fraud and things like that. So people should not worry whether they lose the job with this. People should only look at how to upgrade them towards the necessary and how to make sure that their training and the tools are effectively used, and also use the ChatGPT things outputs to make sure that their business or their focus is satisfied. Even in research, people wants to use to see if there is anything available in earlier data and make sure that they will use this information for their focus and studies.
Thanks, Hari. So as AI continues to reshape the workplace, it's important for job seekers to develop skills that will enable them to adapt to new technologies. So Naveen, as you work in the talent space, can you tell us how the workforce can prepare themselves for the future with AI? In particular, what are the AI skills that will be in high demand in the future?
Sure. So I think not just maybe people who are technical, but I think a lot of people will have to go towards the digital revolution, because digital revolution is here to stay, right? So example, maybe 10 years ago, if you would have spoken about, PTM and any other online modes of payment, I wouldn't have even imagined that could happen, right? But if you see, it's got into everything. And because of this, if people have to, become more digital, there are certain skill set that they'll have to embrace, right? One is, example, the data analysis. Because each and everything that we are talking about, it's generating data, right? Because everything is on internet, everything is being digital. Even if, example, if I'm moving across places, Google is, gathering data about me. If I'm browsing a website or application, there's constant generation of data that's happening, right? So now how does the data have to be structured, organized, stored, analyzed? How can I put an algorithm to it? How can I do coding to it, right? So, data analysis and its data management is going to be a key area, because unless you don't get your inputs right, obviously the output is not going to be relevant. So I think that's going to be a huge challenge, a huge potential right now, that people will have to definitely look at how they can get into the data analytics side of it. And then also we have natural language processing, right, which is basically helping to develop chatbots or virtual assistant or any other AI-powered communication tool, because there has to be an interface between the machine and what is in the backend. I think that is something that another area where people will have to look at how they can improve. Then obviously there are associated ones. People will, earlier they could maybe do coding or maybe one or two roles, it could suffice. But now they'll have to develop, something towards data side, towards to understand that, right? I just cannot know AWS as a cloud and not know anything else. I need to know, how to, maybe utilize Azure or AWS, GCP on the, database tools that are there. How do I implement it? How do I integrate it? So people will have to be fungible in their learning, so that they're able to stay relevant to the role that these guys are playing. And the other area, which obviously, like I said, we can probably have people who are taking care of the ethical consideration, right? Whether the AI model, tool is it ethical or not ethical. So that's another area where people can probably pick up as an area. Cybersecurity is going to become another issue, right? With a lot of information being generated, being utilized, being available online, right? So we will also have to ensure that how can the data be secure. So there'll be a lot of cybersecurity also, which will also be coming up, as a matter of new skill that people have to learn.
Thanks, Naveen. Moving on to Hari. Hari, we understand that providing training and upskilling is the right approach for mitigating the impact of AI, which can be both positive for businesses as well as for employees. So by involving employees in the AI implementation process, providing training and upskilling, ensuring transparency and accountability, it will help the entire job seekers as well as businesses to drive growth. I'm shifting this question to a little different angle all put together. Do you think, according to you, does the government also have a role to play in ensuring that the impact of AI on the workforce is positive? Can you shed some light on this particular topic?
Are you on mute?
Hari, are you there?
So look at their loss. Hello. Sorry.
Hari, can we hear you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Do you want me to repeat the question for you, Hari?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Hari, my question to you is, as businesses delve into the implementation of AI in their operations, what are the ways that they can ensure that the impact of AI is positive for employees as well as businesses? And according to you, does the government also have a role to play in ensuring that the impact of AI on the workforce is positive?
Yeah. Government has to make sure that they engage the employees very frequently on this, so that there's a positive impact on the employees, because today I think there's a lot of work burn that's happening in the employees. There's a skill shortage which is happening in the employees. So the business has to make sure that the right skill trainings has been given to the employees. And then there's an employee burnout. Recently, when we saw the pandemic, there are a lot of people working online for hours together. They were not getting proper time and things like that. Strategically, they can use this AI to make sure that they get the right data at the right time. And then they can use this tool for effective individuals' time that they can save. And they can also do some employee time tracking. I'm sure all employees who fill out the timesheets is not definitely interested to do when they especially work on different systems like CRM, ERP, and calendar, and some legacy systems. But I think using all these AI, they can consolidate the time which they have worked, and they can automate this process. Decision making can be easily faster with available data which can comes at once, and the senior management can use this for decision making, and the businesses can use this for the efficiency and productivity in their business. Coming to the government can also look at how government bodies can see how they can assist the business to make sure, because today government has quite a lot of employees and labor laws, which has been simplified after 2000, I would say, once the BPOs have come and software companies have come. But they can also make sure that they provide with a lot of trainings. They can bring up the skill from the bottom level, from the school level, from the colleges level, and ensure that people who are coming up with innovative ideas and all creative ideas should be encouraged and probably recognized. And there should be a space that is created where all these are discussed across the business and see how it can help a country and how we can create a talent pool from the organizations. They should not try to be a hurdle stone, but they should facilitate probably a tax laws or an income tax laws or whatever laws make the business easy for them, because there was a time when even software transactions was more cumbersome to do with the government, but I think it has eased much a lot. So these are some of the helps that government can do and make sure that the talent is built up at the right time, at the right speed for the businesses to be hired in India within itself, so that we can retain that here.
Thanks, Hari. Over to you, Naveen. So Naveen, also would like to hear from you as well, specifically on the government initiatives. What role do you think the government is playing in ensuring towards creating a future-ready workforce?
So I think they're giving a lot of encouragement to the industry, right? So I think when the industries are growing, automatically the opportunities for workforce will come into it, right? And I also see a lot of initiatives where government is also, having different bodies which are basically, going global, and also having a lot of webinars or conferences, events where they are ready to invest money and also are focusing on it, right? I think there are times when government, never used to look at all these things as important things, but now I think they've understood the importance of the technology and AI, and how it's going to play a role in everything, right? While the government, is one body, but they also can, leverage AI technology for everything, and we have seen that happening in the last few years, where they're adopting, example of vaccination, which was, came in through COVID app, right, for all the people in India. So similarly, they understand the potential and how they can manage, right? And managing 1.4 billion population is not very easy, right? But by adopting to technology in multiple areas, I think that is where the government is focusing and bringing in that particular digital transformation. And I think they are very, very pro towards us. So I think it's going to help in creating a lot of opportunities. Plus, they are also creating a lot of universities and areas where people can learn, right? So there could be certain areas where people are probably not having enough money to, maybe get some good courses. I think government is also investing in those areas where people can also easily embrace technology, learn new skill sets. So I think that is something which is going to be the key in the next 10 years. And after that, I'm sure it's going to be very, very different workplace with a lot of people adopting to technologies and IT skills.
Just to add to that point, Naveen, are these AI courses really expensive, or can you also think of the track in terms of any certain institutes who are offering these courses? Is it possible to call out a name of a few for the interest of our participants?
So there are a lot of edtechs that have come up, right? There are even certain edtechs, like example Masai School, right, where they basically will teach you for free of cost, right? So you can pay back the college after you get a job. So they have a particular model where you can just go and join, finish the course, and only when you get a job of 5 lakh rupees, right, you can start repaying back for your course fees back to the campus. If you don't get a job, you don't have to pay them, right? So that's a kind of model that have come up in the industry right now, which I think definitely is very encouraging. And I'd been to one of their events where they spoke about a person from a remote place in Bihar, who was able to change his life. Right, he was not happy with what he was doing. He was also driving cars, cabs, right, services, but that was not his passion, was right. And then he heard about this particular ed tech, where people can join, finish the program without paying anything, right? And I think he went ahead with that, and he also got placed with one of the new startup companies, and then his life changed. He became, and then he started paying back to the campus after that. So there are a lot of such edtech firms that are coming up with these kind of models, or maybe with a lesser fees, where people can enroll themselves and pick up these new skills. I think this is going to be more and more, and even they have a target of giving back to the community, right? Because their vision is not to just generate money or commercial business. The idea is to give back to the community, transform India, right? And that can happen only when they're able to impart education, upskill people, who are currently probably looking for that particular help, right? And the commercial impact is it's a give and take, right? If I'm getting a job of 5 lakh and above, that's when I start paying back in installment. I don't have to pay them upfront, right? I think that's something which is going to be changing the way people are looking at the education in these sectors.
Thanks, Naveen. Moving on to Hari. Hari, while we heard from Naveen in terms of what are the courses and what are the kind of courses which are available in the market and how one can look at having a career, would also like to understand, because we also have a lot of freshers who also want to aim a certain career in AI. Can you also throw some light as in, are there any certain basic interdisciplinary skills which are required, at least at a base level? So if a fresher wants to start a career in AI, would like to hear your thoughts on this.
They need to definitely learn a bit of coding. I think machine learning, they should be interested to learn machine learning. Python is one of the language which people are learning now, and they can also do speech recognition courses. All these are picking up, and computer vision is one more thing. And I think these things they have to learn as a side tool. I mean, it's not about what degree that they are doing, but they can also do it at a side degree. These are the things which are picking up. Again, we talked about NLP, which is another language programming that they can learn. So these things, if they do as a course, as a side tools, and they get prepared before they do the degree, it will be an added advantage, because it's not about their bachelor's degree, what they're looking, because people are looking at the extra skills that they bring in on the table when they join any industry. So to develop, today, India is more to being developing towards a skilled country. It's not about just holding a degree and showing a degree certificate, because everywhere you are getting autonomous universities and things like that. More than the degree certificate that you hold in the hand, the demonstrated skills at the workplace carries more weight. So they should develop a passion to develop these skills while they come out of the college and universities, which is quite basic. I think these things can be learned easily. I think deep learning or machine learning and Python language, they should be able to try and start learning at the very young after the school, and then they can develop it over a period of 5 to 6 years. Maybe they can start a very good career. That's what I feel.
I think we've heard some great points from you and Naveen today. And it's clearly understood that there is a lack of awareness towards AI and its potential applications. And it can be one of the challenges in the longer run. But once the bridge is mitigated and it is implemented, that we can create interest in generating AI skills and making the workforce ready for the future. So what's important is the need for interdisciplinary skills, what you have rightly called out, Hari, today. And the quality of education also plays an important role so that we can remain and keep the candidates up to date with the latest technologies. Also, moving on to the light that you have thrown on the Indian government, and there are several initiatives which are being taken by the government to make a future-ready workforce and which is preparing the country to overcome this economic landscape. This also requires a lot of collaboration between the industry, government, academia, and the other stakeholders to ensure that AI is developed and used in a responsible and a beneficial way. I think these are some great points we've heard from you all both today. So moving on to Naveen. Naveen, I'd also like to hear from you. You spoke about algorithms today and some of the biases. I'd like to hear from you that since these are already existent while we are adapting to AI and implementing, how can one address the issue of bias in AI, considering that the fact that the algorithms are made by people and each person tends to have biases?
Right, that's the reason I said, there will be people who will be getting these kind of jobs, right? Who needs to be an outsider, right? Because see, a lot of things in human are, probably something could be right to you, could be wrong to me, right? So we need to have people who will be able to get that perspective of, overall, human society and figure out what is the right thing which is there. Because the moment you have someone inside your organization, probably they'll be biased or, it can bring in a lot of things. So people will have to definitely look at a body, a particular authority, which can basically help in standardizing these kind of things across industries, so that the bias, there is no such bias, right? And that's something which is generally accepted across all industries. So I think that is one area where people will have to look at it. While internally, people will have to have multiple people looking at it. Right? Example, if I'm particularly in a single person creating a AI model, right? I'll bring in my own unconscious bias to it. Even not consciously but unconsciously, I'll be bringing in certain biases. So they will definitely need to have someone else, a couple of more people who will be validating or vetting that particular AI algorithm and model. When that happens, then the correction can happen and different perspectives can be done. But if that is being failed, then obviously it will creep in a lot of biases and discrimination in whatever models a particular person is creating. So they have to be very, very careful about trying it out, testing it out before it becomes public. I think that's going to be a very, very critical area where people should not take it lightly. And there are also some instances, which people have seen, where the response that was given by a particular, AI, generative AI, was not up to the mark, because people are trying to compete, trying to bring in products into the industry in a hurry to, compete with some other product, right? I think that is where they'll have to really think, try it out, and then bring out the product in the market. Otherwise, it could have a reverse impact of negatively impacting the brand.
Thanks, Naveen. Hari, while we have heard from Naveen as well in the initial that how, and plus you also spoke about there are already industries which have already adapted, and there are many industries who are already in the forefront of adapting AI into their systems and operations. Can you also help us understand that, is there a mechanism where organizations can measure the impact of AI systems, looking from the ROI point of view?
Definitely, they can put up a system to measure the, from the ROI, because today, especially when I come from the manufacturing industries, when we look at some of the jobs, we find that they have to first derive a parameters of what all that is being affected in the business. It can be yield, it can be productivity, it can be the time loss, it can be the repetitive job that you have to communicate to people and how to get the job done and things like that. So when you try to put this artificial intelligence, you need to see what all parameters gain that you can get. One is, of course, maybe a resource straight away, which is very straightforward, that you have saved so many resources. But there can be also some of the better benefits, like how your communications that you have saved so many times, you may have to repeat the same communication. If the person is changing on a day-to-day basis, or if a supervisor is changing, if you have some issues of people leaving the companies and things like that, that can all be solved by an data which is already available, and it can already automatically work on the previous data that is available. Second, your yield that comes out, the output that you get in an organization. So I cannot put a number of, if you start investing on AI, what would be your ROI, because different companies wants to implement different AI advantages to their system, but they can they can easily try to track different parameters in their working environment and start seeing how they can make a benefit, either in the productivity, the time, the resource, their communication effort, or their data fetching things, or the wrong data that was going, or the human error, and these things, and come to a, probably in 3 years time, they will have a method to see how this application, if you involve in an AI, what will be your return on investment and how fast. Maybe that will evolve over a period of time with the different financials working on it, but I'm sure that's going to come, and it will be much more easier for companies to think which part I should take and how I can easily work. If you do it in manufacturing, this is the ROI. If you do it in banking, this is the ROI. I think a trend will come that way to evolving out of this.
I think some great points have come up in today's session, and thank you, Hari, for these inputs. We have now reached towards an interesting part of the webinar, and where we would like to take up questions from our participants. We are already seeing too many questions are being flowing in. While at the interest of time, we might not be able to answer each and every question, but we would like to take up certain unique questions and also revert to you or respond to you on the questions which has come up. So my question to you, first question, I think it is for Hari. Hari, can you also throw some light on some inputs on AI used for building smart cities?
Yeah, I think I heard some time back recently, the police force have used the AI to manage the traffic in Bangalore. So they already started using, they can deploy their forces wherever their rush hours, because morning 9 to 10 was already rush, and they know where to send their traffic signals. They already started using in some of the places to monitor the traffic signals and things like that. When you want to build the whole city, for example, there are a lot of things which has got a public and human interface, and government can definitely use it to build as a smart city. There is hospitals where you can start looking into it. You can make sure that people, how many people are there in the area, how many hospitals is required, even if you want to build an education or a number of data that you want to collect in the city, and how you can make the city more effective and more smart by implementing these artificial intelligence data that you already have about that city. It can be in the field of education, it can be in the field of banking, or it can be in the field of healthcare, or even the public civil things that you want to manage, whether it is traffic or the government offices or the roads or the road developments and the traffic in that area and the highways that needs to be created, the air traffic, and all this I think can be implemented via AI. It can be very well used by the government to use these tools to make a city very smart.
Thank you, Hari. My next question is for you, Naveen. The next question is quite interesting, and I'm sure you'd love to answer this. Why do some people feel fearful or doubtful about AI technologies?
So I think because they are not ready for the change, or they are very scared of what AI can do. Right? Because people have, sometimes, I just had a particular presentation sometime back where, people, made comments saying that, looks very scary, like the potential. And then there are also areas where people can negatively use AI, right? It could be for maybe a digital war on any other country. It could be anything else that people can use. And all obviously for people who are in jobs, right? So example, someone with a 10-year, 15-year job, and jobs are getting replaced, or probably the experience that you're bringing into a particular role is probably no more required. So example, there are a lot of coding platforms that were there, where people used to code. Now you have to just put your input and expect an output, and the coding tool is going to tell you, and with a lot of accuracy and saving time. Like there are a lot of time that was getting involved in coding a particular program, but now through AI people are able to do that. So that's why people are a little scared, saying that what is the potential that it can bring. Right? I think that is where people are little reluctant, or on what's going to happen. I think that's a fair part, but at the same time, a lot of younger generation, they are very, very adaptive to this thing. They're more excited, and they are all waiting to see what AI can do. I think that is the gap between different generations, I can say.
Thanks, Naveen. So we spoke quite a lot on technologies and skills and how one can upskill as well. So we have a question from one of our participants. Are there some of the most important soft skills that are needed in an AI-related role? Hari, I'd like to answer this question for us.
Sorry, I didn't get your question, Krishna.
So, okay, I'll repeat that for you. What are some of the most important soft skills that are needed in an AI-related role? We spoke about technical skills, having a background on certain computer science or mathematics, etc. So do you think any soft skills are also required? This is one of the questions where we have received it from the participant, and I'd like you to answer that.
Yeah, empathy is one thing. We should definitely. Empathy is very emotional thinking, and probably emotional thinking is also very much important, which probably today all these chat GPT and things are not there. Empathy is very much helpful because then you can do the coding and you can do the computing accordingly. You can understand, you can be more efficient. So, and passion, which is a very important soft skill for us to make sure that we go and pick the right things and we try to discover new things. So these are some of the soft skills, and trying to be always ahead of the business is very, very important today. As we see, we should always ask ourselves whether the right talent is moving at the same speed as the technology is moving. So that is not there. So I think the hunger to move forward and learn more. These are some of the things which is very, very important for the young generation. They are in the right time and the right place. We always used to hear as a small kid, a small moral story that if you go to a theater of 15 minutes film movie and if you just sleep because you're early, the movie is over by the time you get up. So I think this generation is already in an era where the world is just moving fast. They need to make sure that they use this time and learn the right things with the right mentality and the right soft skills and make use of the situation in their career. Next 25, 30 years is going to belong to them.
Yeah,
Great,
just
Hari.
to add
One
on
question.
to Hari,
Yeah, sorry.
probably I think other thing which going to be very important is integrity, right? Because people should ensure that they are not manipulating, using, to their own advantage. I think that should definitely be there.
Great. So Naveen, I have a question for you. What are the risks of AI being hacked?
So I think, like I said, it's creating opportunity for people with cybersecurity, and AI is not just one particular platform, right? So like while ChatGPT is one particular product, right? But otherwise AI in general is not a particular product, right? And obviously, like I said, when people are using AI model or implementing, they also have to consider the security factor to it. They cannot just get something on public or online. And I'm sure all the companies are also very, very particular about that. Before they're launching something on online or on internet, they are considering all the factors with respect to data leakage, privacy, and all those things. So I think the chances are less because people have been evolving on different hackers, and there are also ethical hackers that are there, right? So they also do the job of trying to hack a particular portal, website. There are firewalls that are built on products, right, to ensure that people are not able to hack them. So I think that is also evolving. Like I said, AI is not just one part, right? It is going to be driving the entire industry in multiple things, right? It could become in a cloud storage, security, software developers, UI, UX, designers, creators. It is a whole lot of things, right? It is not just one particular part. And I think, like similar to any particular application that I, implement or I can go public, I have to ensure the security factor. Similarly, for any AI product or tool, people are also looking at the ways, that it will not get hacked and misused.
Thank you so much, Naveen and Hari, for taking your time and answering so many interesting questions today. I think the entire session was quite engaging and interesting. While I would say that this topic is so elaborate and we cannot cover everything in 1 hour, and there is so much to learn about this transformative technology. So I would like to end the session and also thank you for the conversation today, which was super insightful in understanding the possibilities of AI. So please look out for the launch for our insightful paper on AI early next week. We would also keep you all posted about the developments. And I would like to thank all our participants, our panelists, for attending and participating in this webinar, and wish you have a good weekend ahead.
Thank you, Krishna, and thanks, Team Lees, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishna, for being a wonderful host, and thank you, Hari, for sharing your insights. And I would like to thank Team Digital, to give this opportunity and stir this particular, conversation and debate. Obviously, there are a lot of learnings for people out there in terms of giving them direction, in terms of giving them the right information about AI, right, so that they are also guided in the right direction. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Hari. Thanks a lot.